been in existence for over 100 years and are the product of the experience gained when the fire insurance companies were actively involved in firing with their own company fire brigades. It was soon obvious that the normal extinguishing agent, water, was in itself forming an ever-increasing waste, and because of this, the formation of Salvage Corps in Glasgow, Liverpool and London became a necessity. Each of the Salvage Corps appliances, known as damage control units, is self-contained and carries the assortment of equipment necessary to carry out the initial protective and reinstatement measures required at most incidents, fire or flood. On those occasions when damage control operations are likely to be extensive and prolonged, additional men and equipment are dispatched to the scene. It is estimated that the damage caused by smoke, water and dirt accounts for upwards of 50% of the total fire wastage, and that these damages can be largely prevented provided protective measures are taken urgently and efficiently. It follows that personnel engaged on damage control operations must be fully trained in the use of all the equipment used by the Corps, and the equipment itself must be maintained to a very high order to ensure instant utilization with maximum efficiency. Waterproof covers are used extensively for the protection of stock, furniture, machinery, etc., and as many as 100 could be used at any one serious fire or flooding incident. After use, the covers are washed, hung up for drying, and, where necessary, repaired. The erection of these covers to ensure the maximum collection and disposal of unwanted water is an art requiring a skill which is inherent in all good salvagemen, and no time is lost in passing on to recruits the knowledge gained by their more experienced colleagues. To combat the growing danger of the effects of smoke and fumes, Corps personnel are instructed in the use and application of breathing apparatus equipment. The Corps is wholly maintained and financed by the fire insurance companies and Lloyd's, and as such is completely independent of the local fire authorities. There is, however, close cooperation with the local fire brigades, and the Corps is wholly dependent on that service for the receipt of fire calls. As soon as calls are received by Fire Service Control, all available information is quickly passed to the Corps where the appropriate action is taken. There is an immediate response to all calls to premises within the city centre and to those high-risk commercial and industrial areas immediately surrounding. Calls to the outer districts are attended at the discretion of the officer in charge, who is notified of all information emanating from the fireground, and should damage control be required, the Corps will make an attendance. From brigades out with the normal area of operations, early notification is received of serious fires where extensive damage control work is required, and every effort is made to comply with such requests, despite the fact that many miles of travel may be involved. Damage control operations are not necessarily related to the extent of fire. On many occasions, particularly where sprinkler heads are operated, a relatively minor outbreak can involve the Corps in many hours of work under extremely unpleasant conditions. The first concern is always protection, and to this end, items of stock are removed from floor level to areas of comparative safety. While this operation is proceeding, other personnel are engaged on the sometimes difficult and lengthy task of sheeting. This is particularly difficult when awkward arrays of shelving and stores of stock are involved, or where there are complex machinery installations. Speed of operation is vital if this is to be completed before stock and machinery become damaged. As soon as the protective measures have been completed, the task of removing the water from the premises begins. The location and opening of drain covers on ground or basement floors is made easier if their positions are clearly marked by wall plates. On upper floors, holes are cut above strategically placed covers which collect and divert the water to the outside. Prompt attention is soon given to the treatment of contents. Machinery and other metal items such as tools, metal fittings, etc. are cleaned, dried and oiled to prevent rusting, and furniture is leathered and dried to prevent staining and more serious damage. Considerable damage is often prevented by removing stock from wet packaging. This is particularly necessary in the case of fabrics and leather goods which are liable to stain and cutlery which may rust. Before leaving the scene, the Corps replace sprinkler heads which have been activated, recharge the sprinkler installation and ascertain that the premises are locked fast.
From Salvage Corps Charlie, returning to base. From Salvage Corps base, message received and understood.
From Hart Street, make box 5, over.
No two fire situations present the same problems for the Corps. Fire on an upper floor is completely different from one at ground level. In the latter case, the protective measures are still undertaken, but these can be limited by the necessity of not impeding the work of the firemen. Removal of water is often hampered by the lack of drainage facilities, and powerful electric pumps working from hastily prepared sumps are put into use, with advantage being taken of the nearest and sometimes unorthodox outlet. The presence of heavy smoke presents an additional hazard, and as soon as the fire situation permits, the task of ventilating the upper floors can begin. Electric extraction fans expedite this process, and as soon as the smoke has cleared, all windows which had been open to facilitate ventilation are closed, and the lingering smell and carbon deposits are neutralized by a special chemical solution emitted from an aerofog generator. The work of the Corps is not only confined to fire situations. Protective measures and the removal of water is undertaken at the request of occupiers in the event of damage resulting from floodwater, sprinkler leakage or fractured water pipes. In such cases, the floors of the areas affected are cleared of carpets, furniture and other items, and the water is contained by damming doorways or openings by the use of sawdust or dollies. The use of powerful suction drying machines, augmented by the physical effort of filling bins, soon removes the bulk of the water, and after a final squeegee and mop, the premises soon return to normal. It is not usual for the Corps to remove goods from the premises which are on fire, but this is done on those occasions where there is a possibility of the buildings becoming completely involved, or where the movement of stock and fittings to an adjoining shop can allow the occupier to continue in business. Every effort is made to ensure that properties are made as weatherproof as possible, and to this end the Corps have the facilities and equipment to effect first aid repairs by covering broken windows and fire damaged roofs with tarpaulins or roofing felt. In the aftermath of fire or flood, loss of business can have serious consequences, and whilst the Corps do all in their power to minimise the adverse effects of any such disaster, occupiers can, with pre-planning, help themselves. Items of high or specialised value can be protected after normal business hours, either by covering with waterproof covers or removing to places of safety. Racking should be provided with solid tops and shelves to help shed water, and should obey the 3 basic rules. Keep shelves clear of floors, walls and ceilings. Keep goods clear of potential dangers, and keep shelves clean and tidy. Open stowage should be raised above floor level and should be limited in size and have all-round accessibility. The areas around drains and sprinkler valves, if kept clear, can provide for speed of performance and freedom of movement, which is paramount in an emergency situation. All the work undertaken by the Salvage Corps is directed to minimising damage and reducing interruption of business. If these simple rules are followed, in the morning it will be business as usual.